Another thing that kept coming up in this book is this concept of trust and how that was instilled so much by your parents into you guys. Like on a literal level, like you really weren't supposed to bring outsiders into the house, which there might be a legitimate concern for that. Your dad's famous and whatnot. But on a much more deep level, they really instilled in you that, your family are the only people that you can trust. You guys are a unit. I mean, it's literally in your name. And then you start to achieve some success with Valley Girl and have, your own life. And the only positive reinforcement that you get comes from outside the house. And all of the conflict and the pain and the injustice surrounding money that you eventually end up with publishing rights and all that, those come from inside the house. I mean, I assume that irony was not lost on you.
Yeah, it's confusing when people outside of your family are nicer to you than the people on the inside, and to have a family version of myself, a public version of myself, and then a deep interior version of myself that I again with my Justine story, I'm still developing that, the safety to even, if a little of my anger makes you attack me, well, what's a lot of my anger going to do? Or if a little of my creativity makes you jealous and want to, I don't know, do what you do with jealousy, then what are you going to do with the full weight of my expression? It takes a while to build that courage up. Fall down 7 times, stand up 8 isn't always easy when you've really had the shit kicked out of you 7 times.
But I mean, I feel like you did that with your book. I mean, I don't know what more revealing and honest and exhibiting faith and trust in the public could you do than to write this book. I mean, it's very honest.
Well, we'll see how people react to it. I appreciate your reaction, but
Thank you.
We'll see how people take it.
I mean, well, you talked about your dad getting blowjobs. I mean, you're very blunt about your dad's affairs in this book and the way that your mom and dad manipulated each other and how these kind of mind games had collateral damage on you and your siblings. There's like another really heartbreaking story is you were in your teens and you had pimples and you're just like a young teenager, and your dad's mistress sends you this European pimple cream. And on one hand, it was like a sweet gesture because you took it as he actually took the time to talk about you to her so she could send you this gift. But you also knew that out of solidarity to your mom, you absolutely had to throw it out. I mean, that is a lot for a young teen. I mean, did you have to unlearn and unnormalize that type of behavior in your adult relationships? I mean, how do you go beyond that?
Oof. I mean, I think I just got a really early glimpse at the worst of humanity. I just got a really heightened taste of again, complex dynamics, because when I received that box from my father's, we'll say mistress, I might say whore, but of course, the other piece of it was I desperately needed help with my skin, and I could also feel maybe there was some manipulation in this woman trying to insert herself as somebody I could also lean on, which was dividing a wedge between Gail and myself, and then also was it her trying to remind my father that she was still around. There were so many
levels of manipulation,
levels and layers of manipulation, and I felt all of them. They were all, and I really do believe we all have this ability to know what everybody is up to, but we have so many denial structures in place, or we don't want to deal with what the consequences of the fallout might be if we say, hey, stop this, or why is she doing this, or whatever, to just actually address what's the discomfort